So I finished this class and I had to submit the course syllabus to Judy because she's the one who eventually tells me. She's my supervisor, she's my teacher, she's my mentor. And she said, you did not start by revising the foundational principles. I'm like, I didn't and I don't, yeah, because everybody knows it, right? She said, no, you're supposed to revise the foundational principles, and that's the word she used. She says, foundational review. Okay, that's the word she used. So I took a print of that email and I'm going to just tell you what she told. So we'll take a quick jump to that. And I know you know what I'm going to do, but I'm just doing it because Judy said, not because you don't know it. Okay, so why do people do the masters? I don't know. Okay, but I'm sure you know why you're doing the masters. Okay, and I'm saying it deliberately masters because that's what Judy says. She says the masters. It's not the masters, it's the masters. So why are you doing this? You may have your sufficient reason. When I did this, one of those times when I did it, Robert says, you know what's going to be covered here? It's just going to be more NLP. Okay, so you've technically finished everything that we have to learn. What we're now going to do is go deeper into it. So we're going to see the yellow a little more differently. We're going to see the different shades. We're going to bring elegance to the same work that we've been always doing. Okay, so the difference between the practitioner's module and the master's module is, the difference between the two is the technician has a toolkit and the master practitioner will have access to their inner state, intuitions, a lot more other aspects. So it's not the tool. So they will not search for where's my plier, where's the screwdriver. They will know how to work in an agile, frugal, elegant manner. So that's the classic difference between the two. So the first thing that we're going to do is to understand how we organize information in our world. And once we understand that, then we begin to realize that, well, the problem is not the problem. The problem is the way we chose to organize information in our world. Had if we organized this information differently, then I could have accessed it differently and I could have recalled it differently and I could have engaged with it differently, and based on that my responses and my behaviors for that would be different. So we are trying to understand this organization, and we come to the classic model. Everything that we have is built on language. That's everything that we have. And if I remove language, how do you navigate your world? How do you say you love something? How do you say you hate something? How do you say I remember something? How do you say I'm hurt? How do you access information, memories, coordinates, promises, values, beliefs? How do you then say I like this over that? That means nothing is available to you if you take away language. If I take away language, we become the animal. Now we are reduced to the order of an animalistic responses. That much is clear? Now, language creates experience. That's my classic understanding of the subject, that bhasha anubhav ko paida karta hai. Language creates experience. So what do you mean by this word experience? NLP is about understanding our subjective experiences. Then my experience can be different from yours. What do you even mean by this word experience? What does this word experience mean? They say it's my experience. What does it mean? And what we're trying to do in this whole study is to decode everything as much as possible so that there is no ambiguity. But the word ambiguous will be ambiguous. Okay? Now, what do you mean by this word experience? So language creates what? It creates a somatic impact. Language creates a somatic impact. And somatic impact means it's got the ability to work on your breath. It can create movements, or it can create stuckness. It can alter your physiology. That's what language can do, which means I can break out a sad news and something may change. Your shoulders may droop, your eyes may go this way. It can create. So language creates an experience. What is experience? The impact it can have on the body is called experience. Only body? Well, also language affects my inner world. It affects my augmentation. My augmentation has a timeline, coordinate, and that coordinate is my time, space. That's my time and space, and this whole thing becomes my reality. So we are working with something called as time, place, reality. And as long as we are not in touch with any of these aspects for the client, we are ourselves out of touch. So for us to have that touch, we need self-calibration. That's what we need, self-calibration. We need access to our sacred spaces, our anchors. We need access to our own self-anchors, and we need the ability to be able to access the meta states, dissociate. I'm only revising, okay? We'll start the topic later on. I'm only revising the foundational review, okay? Just so that you know. So, if you meet Judy, just tell her, okay, we did the foundational review. Don't use the word revision. It's foundational review. Okay. Now, everything we have put it into language. How is that? How is this? How is she? How is he? How was yesterday? Your understanding of everything is language. What is this? Chalk. Now, I can ask you what is this and you can tell me chalk, you can tell me white chalk, and then you can look at it and say, well, my teacher used it, and maybe a teacher comes up for you, maybe you listen to their voices, maybe you recall an act of someone throwing this on you because you were talking, if you're from India, and you know, it depends on what all aspects you put to the imagination of a chalk. But this is a physical reality. But you access this physical reality through language. If you didn't have access to language, what would this mean to you? Well, this will mean something to you because you have language, not because this is there. Even if this was not there and I would have used language and said, imagine I'm having a chalk in my hand. Would there be a difference between the two experiences of the chalk that I don't have in my hand and the chalk that I have in my hand? If you know what is chalk and if you've had an experience of chalk, would that experience of chalk change in any way whether I'm holding it or not holding it? No. That's our lemon experiment. That's the pawn experiment. I can jerk off to imagination. Even if it is there or not there, I can jerk off to the memory of someone touching me, even if that person is not touching me today. That means once I have it, I have the possibility of accessing it till I distort it. Can I distort it? Can I distort? Is the recording on? Can I distort it? Yeah. The proof that we begin to hate the ones we love is proof that we can distort it. The proof that we suddenly fall in love with people we've never considered or looked at them through those lenses are proof enough that Well, we can distort our experiences and reality. That means there is something called as a physical reality. There is something that is tangible, measurable, which is existing even without language. That means I can touch something without knowing what it is. I can feel it without knowing, and you can also feel it. Will both our feelings stay same? No. Our feelings are dependent on our sensory channels. So we are also talking about our sensory channel. How open is it? And is there any impedance to it? Well, if I have like a hard skin surface, very hard, I won't be able to feel it. And if you touch my hand, even you wouldn't be able to feel it. You'll say, this is too rough. It's like a tortoise shell. It's a different feeling. Okay. So, do we have impedance? Neurological impedance, psychological impedance, anatomical impedance, biological impedance. Do we have blocks in our experiential channel? If we have, then we don't have access to the information that is in front of me. But if I don't have these blocks, I don't have these impedance, that means I have access to what is as much as what is. But we bring in our own filters and we bring in our own bias, because of which we can't see what is as much as what is. But we are trying to access that reality as much as we can. At least that is what we are saying we are doing. Clear so far? Okay. So I want to revisit this once again for you to quickly get an understanding, and this is the classic understanding of L, S, I and P. That's the research paper also of how I put everything in language. My imagination also has language. My language has imagination. So my language creates thoughts and my thoughts have language in it. And this language has syntax. This language has semantics. This language has sequence. This language has an order. This language has a language. It's in Hindi or is it in English? There's a language to the language, which means we are that much away from experience. We are not only not seeing something, we framed it in language, and when I move it from one language to another language, my experience changes. It's like saying I love you, and when you say the same I love you in another language, it means something else. मतलब ना सिर्फ भाषा अनुभव को पैदा करता है, भाषा बदलने से आपका अनुभव भी बदलता है. So that means we experience through language. That means language has a very deep impact on our experience. Can we then conclude that the quality of our language, the precision of that language, the syntax, the grammar of that language has got a lot to do with the way we experience this world? And that is what brings essence to the linguistic part of the neuro-linguistic programming. That experience is the neurology. So language creates experience, and experience is saved in language. Because we are programmed to do something in a certain way, or because we've done something in a certain way, we are programmed. A class in NLP is to understand the different ways I can program it, reprogram it, frame it, reframe it, script it, rescript it, change it, add it, edit it, and all of that. So NLP is about what's not working, and then the curiosity of why is it not working? What promises did you make growing up? What values do you have? What adult victimhood did you live? What childhood abuses did you live? What abandonment stories do you have, because of which you made a promise, you made a decision, you built a value, you built a belief system around it, you have a hierarchy, you have a rule, you give yourself those kind of permissions to and not to. And all what we are doing is trying to say, hey, can you have another reality? Hey, can you have another promise, another decision, another script, another narrative, another. Okay, it's hardcore therefore. And then this is the physical reality. This can be my auntie. But the moment I see my aunt, I say something, ta-da, I recall something, ta-da, and I feel something else, ta-da. Because as much as language creates an experience, imagination also creates an experience. And sometimes whether or not this auntie is here, the principal is here, the father is here, the nun is here, whether or not we have the same experience. Yeah? This is the business model of porn industry. They work on that model that we can show you augmentation or in pixel or in virtual reality, and your experience will still be same. Your experience will not change, because so that's the first thing I want you to know, the relation between L, S, I and P. And then I want you to know very clearly that the meaning of the word experience. It's very important. The next time we say, but that's my experience. Now you can break that experience down to say, well, that's my breath. That's how my body fidgets. That's how I feel frozen. Or that's how I was standing. My physiology, my stuckness, my movement, and my breath. Experience is a collection of these aspects. It's a sum total of this. And then I say, that's my experience. Now we give a word to this. Now we further move this and we say, well, this means sadness. And then we move that further to a behavioral transaction. And then the behavioral transaction becomes an engagement between two people. And that engagement becomes a relation. It becomes a relation between this person and this person. And that is conflict. That is confrontation. That is resistance. Whether or not this person is existing or not. It's like saying whether or not auntie exists. Okay? This is the micro, this is the macro. Whether or not this person exists, my experience is same. Because when I think of my ex, I feel bad. So when I think of my ex, I feel something. That's my representation. You see the loop? How this creates, this creates, this creates, this creates. So we need a strategy to work in a way that is different from the client's strategy. Does the client have a strategy? Yes. That is why they are able to think of the aunt which is not there, breathe in a particular way, feel stuck in a particular way, and call that as an experience. Give a name to it, that I feel rejected, dumped, resentment, anger, hurt. Then give a reason to that behavior, why you broke the glass, because. And then go to the room with the other person with that contamination or with that essence, and that's what happens to the relation, the future relation, and that's the loop. So even though I'm talking here to Meeta, in my head maybe I'm talking to somebody else. We call it classic transferences and all of that. Okay? That Rahat Indori ka shairi was very good. He says, मेले में घूमने वाले तुम्हारा दुकान कोई और चलाता है. And I thought that's a beautiful way of telling what transference is. You know, I go to the supermarket knowing what I want to buy. But when I come back, I always end up buying different things, more things. It's like मेले में घूमने वाले तुम्हारा दुकान कोई और चलाता है. Because the moment you see something, you think something, you feel something, you react something, you engage in a particular way. And that's transference. When I go through world, each of you will evoke certain things in me. You evoke in me what was suppressed within me. When I see you, that which was suppressed finds its roots and begins to move. Maybe I look at you and I say, oh, fuck you. Or I look at you and say, damn, you remind me of that voice which always I was scared of, or I was intimidated of, or you are the one I'm going to fall in love with, or damn, you are the one I want to do, you know, etc., etc., etc. So all the love and the hate and the dislike and the resentment that we have here are not born here. They were suppressed somewhere else as a part of something what we call as unfinished. So NLP is not counseling, but counselors can use NLP. It's not coaching, but a coach can use NLP. I'm not here to give you an end-to-end process of how the work is done, but I'm here to teach you parts of the work which you're going to learn as a part of the skill model, technique model, process model, and so on. And I might throw some concepts like this because you'll need this concept to understand where we are plugging in the next skill set. Okay, so the client comes and says, I hate my mother. What they're saying is every problem that they bring to the field is a relationship problem. It's either with the aunt, or it's with the aunt, or it's with there is no aunt, abandonment. It's either with the memory of the abuse, it's either with the physical person there in the here and now, or it's with the absence of their presence. What is present because of their absence, उसके न होने से जो मौजूद है उससे. ठीक है? There are things that are present because of their absence. That. So that engagement, वो रिश्ता, is creating this turmoil. Okay? And how is this term? Between this and this, there is a strategy because of which the engagement happens. So if I look at Abu and I say I'm feeling so angry looking at Abu, if you replace me with somebody else here, will that person have the same response with Abu? That means that relation is not exclusive to everybody. It's exclusive only to me, and it's not encompassing everybody. That means there must be some strategy, some memory that I am having because of which I can respond to Abu in a certain way. Clear? Any questions so far? So that's the first foundational review topic, just so that you know. Okay, so L, S, I, and P. I don't know in the basic whether I did it like this, but we're just revising, so I didn't want to be repetitive. But in the counseling, we do this just like that. है ना? In the counseling, we do this just in the same module, and then we build on this. Like the first 4 hours is this, because we go into the layers of that. Yeah, and you realize that what I'm feeling has got nothing to do, but it's only got to do with the quality of language I have installed in the feeling. If I change the language, my feeling can change. Is it that easy? Yes. Then why aren't people changing that language? Because there is investment in that emotion. What do you call it? Secondary gain. What a nice word, right? I should trademark it. What do you call it? Secondary gain. Because I benefit from the hurt. Why do I benefit from that hurt? And everything we do in the master practitioner is got to do with this one word. We benefit. Who benefits from the hurt? Me, the client. I. Who benefits? I. Even though it's a pronoun, it's the biggest problem of this world. It's the nominalization of the highest order. Everything that we're going to do is on identity. And the highest contamination happens on identity. because I is a problem. I am a Christian. That's the URL, the tiny URL. Then with that comes all the big web page, right? All the things that I'm allowed to do, that I will allow you to do, the things that will make me feel hurt, the things with which I can hurt you, the things that will give me salvation, which is right, wrong, good, bad. All of that comes from religion. And second, if not religion, it comes from patriotism. So both politics is trying very hard to get you to wear that political patriotic underwear outside, so that everybody sees how much of you are and where can your triggers lie and how it can be pressed at a very easy level. Okay? So this identity is at the prime of everything, because I am hurt. Now when you dig these layers, you'll realize why is the I hurt. Okay, but it's the I that is hurt. The understanding of I is also hurt sometimes. So we're going to learn identity at the crux of everything. So is secondary gain so important for people? Yes. Secondary gain creates secondary losses. There are collaterals that are lost in order to satisfy and nurture the secondary gain. Still people participate in that. Imagine how important that martyrhood would be. It's a part of their experience and sacrifice both. The lady who gets beaten up every day, the boy who doesn't live up to his father's, doesn't live up to his own dreams and poetry because he wants to prove it to his father. Yeah, the son something else, the wife something else, and so on and so forth. In what way are you not living up to something because you're living up to something else? In the sense, I met this client who was a mother and her son was 17 years old. I mean, it's no more a son now, right? But she wouldn't go to work, or she wouldn't do what she's good at doing, because she would have guilt consciousness because her in-laws would guilt her from doing certain things. And she would buy that guilt because growing up her mother was guilted and beaten up by her father, by her husband, and she happened to see that. So in what way are you doing something because that's the way it should be done? In what way are you not doing something where you feel no choice? Where do you feel you have no choice but you have to push this stone up the hill? And there is no choice, the Greek metaphor. You cannot have another reality. All you're doing is lifting that weight, doing this, doing this, doing this, doing this. Every Monday, every Tuesday, every Jan, every year. And you're stuck in a loop. And you don't have an exit policy. Some people say, well, when my children or when I reach they've kept an exit policy far away. So the suffering is in the loop. The suffering is in not having the exit strategy. So when we work, we are looking at how did the client represent this reality in their world. How did you organize this information? ये तो तय हो गया कि there is some truth here in this world or here in this world. We are simultaneously living in how many worlds? 3 worlds at least. One is the world of language. Second is constant touch with this imagination. Third, we are also talking to this person in front of me. So we are constantly living in at least 3 worlds unless you change your language up there. If you change your language up there, you're living in 4 or 5 or I don't know how many worlds. So even though you are talking to this person, you're responding to this person. Has it happened in your house that you suddenly yell at your mother because your son was irritating you? We call it displacement, right? I banged the TV remote because I couldn't respond to my wife. Or I'm yelling at my wife because my daughter kept asking certain things. Because even though I'm talking here, I'm responding there. So neurocleanliness is very important. We aspire to be neuroclean. But sometimes it's a very difficult aspect. It's not very easy to be neuro clean because we get sucked into our emotions, we get sucked into our story, and then we want to be sympathized, loved, born. So that relation is important, the secondary gain relation is important. Okay, so how do we work? To work, and whether language, whether imagination, we have VAKOG. What do we have? What we can see, touch, see, feel, smell, taste. That's my language, right? I see, I hear, I am feeling bad, I can listen to my mother. That didn't look good. Oh, that is so difficult to handle. That felt so intimidating. It's all linguistic patterns. And linguistic patterns have what I can see, what I can touch. That's my reality. My ultimate reality is my sensory truth. And therefore, it's important to have open sensory channels. My truth is my sensory reality. So I need to understand how has the client represented their world. Is it more visually? Is it more auditory? Is it more linguistically? How have they organized these books in their world? Then how do they go and pick up this book, the strategies? I want this book. Great, that book is in the second drawer. How did you keep it there? How did you decide to organize your world and information in that way? So the first thing we're going to do is find out how is the client's representation. How is the client representing their reality? Then to find out what is the outcome they are looking for. What outcomes are they looking for? These outcomes has to be well formed, right? We need to well form these outcomes. Like, what is this outcome? When I say well form these outcomes, I'm talking about having congruency, having alignment, having ecology. And when I say representation, I'm talking about how is the placement? What is the distance between the placement? What is the relation between the placement? What are the strategies in those representations? That's what I'm looking at. And then I'm very interested to know how are they telling me that story? What is the language they have in telling me the story? I'm listening very carefully to their language. Are they using these big, messy words which has no meaning? Or are they bringing it down to a subjective sensory reality? Are they saying that, I got so fucked up last night that it blew my head and I was so resentful that I started hating that bitch? Very high end. There's no sensory awareness in this. Versus the moment she walked in and came in from the door, I started breathing so hard and so high that I almost felt that I was out of breath and my heart was beating and I could feel my heart beating in my throat, Anil. I can't tell you what I was feeling. It was so difficult. I almost felt stuck that I couldn't think. You get the difference in both those language patterns? One is a sensory reality and the other is comprehension. We got to listen to their representation and then begin to move them where we have to move them. And then we are looking for some truth, some evidence. Did I get those evidence which I was looking for? And that's what we're always looking at in NLP. We are looking at, did I get what I want? Am I looking at the role? Very important to look at the role. And once you understand, then everything, the client is coming and telling you something. Saying, why in this quarter we can't get that outcome. So I want to know, how did they organize this? The representation is the I. So how is this world? Well, how is the inner world? I can't see that. I can sure go into their office, open their cabin, look at their desk and see how it is. But I can't see this. So asking the right questions will enable me to see their representations, their quality of linguistic patterns. What is the language? First is, what is the language, right? I want to know what is the language. I want to know what is the sequence. I want to know what is the semantics. I want to know what is the syntax. And when I get to know all of this, I get to know how they experience what they experience. Then I'm going to see the evidence. What are they feeling? They're feeling bad. They're feeling bad. They're feeling hurt. They're feeling hurt because they've used the language in this way and they've represented things in this way. What if we could change something here and change something here? Will that outcome change, and do I have the evidence of which the outcome is changing? This, the interplay of this is what I call as strategy. It's a very unconscious interplay. So I call it the programs that runs behind the programs, the meta programs. They're programs that runs behind the programs. There's something that runs outside of my conscious understanding. I don't decide, but I'm, मेले में घूमने वाले, तुम्हारा दुकान कोई और चलाता है. I didn't know that I would be tempted towards this girl, attracted towards this girl, hate this girl, or want to go to this place. But it's all a part of my unconscious paradigms and movements. Okay? Look at the person you're in love with currently, and or the people you generally like or you want to rescue. Look at the people you just want to rescue. Just look into this class and say, whom do you look at and feel that, oh, poor soul, come, daddy will help you. You look at someone like that and you feel that way, that, oh, this person can take my help. And you feel like going to this person and saying that, oh, you're not doing it right. I'll be the Christ for you. I'll take away the sins of your world. You already know who that is by looking at some faces, don't you? Yeah, don't you? The one sitting offline, at least. Imagine, you chose to sit next to those people for some reason. The ones online didn't have that choice, I guess. But you're sitting there because either you wanted to be saved by them, like, darling, can you pay my EMI? I'm helpless, Or you went and sat somewhere. There's a reason. There's a reason. Find out the truth of that reason. Nothing is without reason, and may not be so explicitly here in this room. Look at life. Look at the constellations that you are a part of on a regular basis. Look at the people you normally attract. When you go to the gym, who are those people? When you go to the club, who are those people? What's common between the random people you go up and say hello to? Are they the ones, the wise fools whom you want to be rescued by? Or are they the innocent souls who you want to rescue? Find that out. There's a reason why you want to be pally with them. Okay? And do nothing about it today. We have time. But recognize these patterns. These patterns are very important. Okay? And these patterns emerge from something unfinished in the journey of your life, and that unfinished business is what creates the strategy. Okay? So in NLP we are not discussing the concepts, but we are directly working with the strategies in the role model. Okay, so NLP is the work we do. I'm very biased towards the work of NLP because I feel whatever we are doing with, the work we are doing is NLP. Well, every other model may have a lot of description about everything. Gestalt talks amazing about everything, but the work we do is NLP. CBT talks great, what to do, how much to do, everything. It's a full book of theory, but the work is here. Because Bandler and Grinder, Frank and Judy, Leslie and Robert and Steve and Mark and Connie Ray and all of these people, what they did was they broke down every word into breath, into body, into language, and they said, let's work here, because that's the lowest common denominator and we can work with that and work our way up. Okay? Okay. You will also begin to realize, the ones who are from the classic counseling field will begin to realize that NLP is an arrogant model. And it is an arrogant model because it's not working sometimes empathetically. Yeah? But it works. You know, at the end of the day, you'll begin to realize that it works. So therefore, classic counseling will always hate NLP. It's not a popular model because NLPers have not been less assholes in the world. Not only have they been arrogant in working this, the work has been arrogant, and they've not stopped rubbing it in the faces of psychotherapists. I don't remember a single conference which Bandler has not said that if it takes more than 20 minutes, it is psychotherapy. This work should take less than 20 minutes. If it takes more than 20 minutes, it is psychotherapy. I mean, he made NLP and the rest of the world of psychology on the other side. That's, in 1980, he created the biggest divide. When he told fuck you to everybody else. It works. But I'm saying, should we work so arrogantly? You know, I don't think so. But I want you to know that it works. Okay? So you can wipe off that smirk from your face and you can, what is falling? Life? Okay. So that's the second one. And the most important part from the practitioner's level I want you to know is the famous TOTE model. These are three things I want you to keep. TOTE model tells you when to exit. Do you know when to exit? Do you know when to stop? Sometimes I don't know when to stop talking. Then I have to remind myself, I'm thirsty, or I've spoken too much. Some people fell off on the floor sleeping. That guy is snoring. You know, that's my cue. And I'm saying, oh, okay, Anil, stop talking. Let's do a wake up thing. Let's take activities. Okay, are we good? Yeah. So, just so that you know, we completed foundational review. Okay.